Do I want to go raw edge with those? I just might. Having some texture on a hay bale makes sense. I had not considered that. I like that idea. Hi, welcome or welcome back to Lakeside Quilt Making Arts. I'm Dawn at the Lake. And I'm not going to do a big intro because we've done intros on what I'm doing currently, what the main project is. Besides Pick a Petal, there is a sleep sack on the board. But the reason why you as a quilt maker might care is that I am making quilted fabric to make that sleep sack. That's it in a nutshell. And I just want to stop in, do a quick little video to show you guys that I'm doing a much better job on my third time around. So you'll see, if I can turn you, my first two hay bales, this is my first one. There's no equality. Well, there's some equality. There's not enough regularity in this to make me really super happy with it. And I tried to learn from the things I messed up on this one. I'm leaving it. I'm including it in my fabric. It is fine. It's going to be all right. But then I tried to learn from what mistakes I made here. Tried to learn in my second round. I still made some mistakes. Didn't cut some of my strips long enough. Some weren't cut wide enough. And so as you're trying to counter for that, then you can't get the consistency that you get when you do it right. So this is my improv circles block, the third hay bale. The design for this fabric, this quilted fabric, is going to be an artistic impersonation of my grandchild's little life and of kind of the iconic features of her early years, I guess you might say. Anyway, so I'm okay that it's improv. Love that it's improv. I wanted to do improv. That's one of the reasons why I've been excited about making this. I've been wanting to do some improv. But being in that state of doing improv is not a mindless task. You still have to pay attention. And this will look better when I get it done. I just wanted to give you guys an update that third time so far is the charm because I've been paying attention. I've had a lot of distractions, but I'm still paying attention and I'm doing it right. I think I'm doing it right. You can see, looks much better, doesn't it? Of course, all the ones on that outer ring are always going to have all these extras added to it until you get it completely done. So we will see what it looks like here in a few minutes. Once I get this one done and I place it somewhere in this area, then I'm going to move on to preparing my cotton blossoms or preparing the field to receive cotton blossoms. I've got some thoughts about how to do that. Originally, I thought I would just do it just like this, and I would do it all in white, variations of white, and I still might. I haven't decided. This takes a lot longer than you think it might. There's a lot of little piecing. So I don't know if I'm going to do it that way. I need something to speed up here so I actually get this done before cold weather comes. We're in North Alabama. It was 97 and 96 in the last few days. It's still hot as blazes out there. I may look like I'm wearing spring and summer clothes because this is linen and it's lightweight. Well, there's a reason. Y'all may think it's fall, but it's not fall here in North Alabama, I promise you. So I know, though, weather will change and it'll be just like that, and it'll be too cold at night for my grandbaby to be sleeping without this. So I need to move forward where I can. That's why I'm going to keep these two and just work with it. Just make it work. The scale is off too. Not happy with the scale of those two. I wish I'd done more this scale, but these take a long time. So I got to figure out what I can do more quickly on my cotton blossoms. And I have some thoughts about that. I think maybe I'm going to do raw edge applique, create a field of green, like horizontal variations of green colors and different surface design on those fabrics, and then put blossoms on there with the, I don't know what you call it, but the little brown stem parts of the cotton blossoms, and then do all that in a maybe machine applique, but all raw edge applique. That texture would probably be quite lovely. So that's kind of the thoughts right now. Hang tight with me. I'm going to show you what this looks like when it gets up there, and then we'll step back in with another video when we're doing the cotton blossoms. Thank you for being here. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to whip through it. I'm going to show you guys kind of things I've done to make this make more sense and look better than those two. And you hear a little bit, see in the background. Let me show you really quickly what I did on this one to make it look better and more consistent than what these two look. You know what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, this old dog is trying to learn a few new tricks. With my first two hay bales, I learned some things and I'm actually applying them in this one. Number one, I like the scale of this third hay bale, probably a whole lot better than the first two that I did, but I'm not going to redo them. I'm just going to figure out how to use the other two. So when I started doing my second, well, let me back up. Notice that, number one, this inner circle is much smaller. So I had to figure out how to make my straight edges along the sides and not turn this thing into a rectangle. Well, what I did is for my very first piece, which would have been right here, I just used 3 ticks on my ruler and just did a straight line. Just had to start somewhere, right? And then I used this point for cutting. I put that my 1/4 inch mark right here and put down this one using just 3 ticks on the ruler. And it looks like it ended up being more like 4 or 5, but it's not the end of the world. The same thing here. I just went to where it touches, where it left off of the circle. That's where my next one went on. And I did that all the way around. When I started adding my second layer, okay, here we are adding our second set of strips to create our second set of triangles to form our outer ring, our second ring. Okay, so what I did is I looked at where these two met, and that's where I put my 1/4 inch mark, and I used this as my edge to direct my angle. Okay, then I put this one on. And what I had done in the first and second hay bales is I had skipped over 2. I would have gone to where this one and this one meets to put my next one on. But I decided to keep things small. So I just went to where these two meet. And that's where I drew my line, put my 1/4 inch mark there, use this as my alignment, and then I put this one on. And I just kept on, and I just went over one with each one of them, just went over one triangle at a time. And I'm getting the scale that I like. It's not exactly perfect. Like right here, there's a little bit of a long edge. And so is that right there. It's not the end of the world. I really don't care that much. Hay bales are not perfect either. If I was trying to create a sun or something that is more perfectly round, then I would worry more about it. But this is just my third one, so I'm not too unhappy with it. I'm going to keep going. So one of the things I figured out is how much leeway I need to give myself on the strip that I am adding, the current strip that I'm adding, which was this one. This is the last one I did. How long do I need to make it? So what I did, of course, is I used this point for making my cut line based off of that line right there as my alignment, right? That gives me my angle. And that was the point where I wanted to make sure I connected. Well, then all I really need to do is make sure I have a little more than 1/4 inch beyond this point, the next intersection of points. Does that make sense? I have been wasting a lot of fabric because I've been making sure I had plenty out here, but I don't need to do that. I only need really 1/4 inch beyond that next intersection, because when I come back around here, which I'm about to do, and make this cut, see, all this is going to be excess. All that's going to be excess. Now, positioning this ruler at the angle that I'm going to need based off of what's going on in my inner circle here, this is my the correct angle that I need. You can see why I could not just simply go 1/4 inch beyond this point. I needed this strip to have enough play, right, have enough distance so that I can put my ruler on a diagonal. And I don't know what that is. That would be a little bit closer. Okay, I'm going to put my pencil right there. And now let's just do that. So what, it's more, that's 3/8. That's 3/8 beyond the point. Get line back up. This is my line. I'm on the quarter there. Okay, I can make that cut now. To make each of the rings, you're using specific points. You're using an intersection of points where the triangles have come together. You're using that as your reference point. But when you don't have a reference point, the best you can do for cutting that outside edge, cutting away all the extra of each of the strips so that you have something that is circular, so that you're left with a finished product that is somewhat circular, the best you can do is just figure out your alignment based off of the lines of the inner circle, which I've done, but it still looks lopsided. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care. I think it's still fun and playful, and it's still going to suit my purposes. I do like the scale of my third one a whole lot better. What I tried to do color-wise with this block, with this hay bale, was I alternated the text fabric, that one straw, grayish colored fabric that has text on it. I alternated it with some of the darker yellows for about 2 rows, I think. On the 4th row, I switched to what I'm calling the chicken feet fabric, that really darker brown. I'm using that to alternate because I really feel like that's the color that your hay gets. It gets darker with age as it dries out close to the top of the hay bale. And it might actually be right the opposite. I probably should look at some photos. I should probably look at some photos, right, to make sure I have some kind of understanding about how the color of a hay bale changes. I know there are some near me in a field that when they were first cut, it really left an impression on me. It was really just so pretty. And the whole scene was a lot more lush than what it is now, of course, because we've had nothing but hot, 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 very little rain for 2 months or more. I don't know for how long. But since I've been back from surgery, the 3rd week of July, we have had so little rain. And I know that's going to impact your color of your hay bales. And it doesn't really matter, right? I'm going to go with it. But as I'm working with this, I want to know what I'm doing so that if I ever have an intentional purpose or an intentional goal, I can figure out how to recreate that. So what if I wanted all of my light side, like I wanted the sun to become hitting it from one direction? I don't know, do I have the capacity at this moment to make that happen and make it look good? Not at this moment. But what I've produced looks good. I'm happy with it. The scale is a little weird, and that's bothered me just a little bit. But I think I can make it make sense because I'm going to be putting cotton blossoms here, and there's going to be like a field of green underneath the whole thing. So I think that's my next step. I make my field of green, and then I can do some cotton blossoms, applique on top of that. And since these guys are, have so many angles to them, they're probably going to get applique down as well. Do I want to go raw edge with those? I just might. Having some texture on a hay bale makes sense. I had not considered that. I like that idea because I can do that with a machine and it'd be so much quicker and it just might look good. So my friends, stay tuned. This is going to be a developing project. I'm just so glad you're here for this journey with me. We're just going to try to have fun. I think we all need that after a long, hot summer. All of you who are in areas where it's already cooling down, God bless you. I love you. I'm so glad for you. But we are not there yet. It's a pressure cooker outside here. And we, as far as I'm concerned, we all need a little bit of fun. You all know, because I've shared a lot, I've had a lot of big things going on in my life for the past several months. And they've all been pressure cooker kind of things, stressful things, surgery, shingles, ribs out of place, staying out of place, all kinds of things. And now we're building a pond on top of everything else, which is just amazing to me. So playing in the quilt studio, That's right up my alley right now. I hope it's up your alley too. Come back for the next video. We're going to be working on this pretty steadily until we get it done, because as much as I want to complain about this weather, it'll be changing. About middle of October, around the 15th, we start to see a little bit of a change to where you start thinking, maybe I don't need linen. Maybe I might need a sweater. But it comes and goes for the next 6 weeks. I have worn shorts on Christmas. We don't really get into full winter until January. Sometimes the very last week in December, and we stay a good 6-7 weeks of pretty miserable rain and cold. And then it starts to feel like spring by that 3rd week in February. So I can't really complain because we do have a decent length of spring. I'm just ready for fall. And I'm ready to get this done. So I'm going to leave you be so I can get back at it. Hope you guys are enjoying your time in your studio. Keep that needle moving. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.